I'm gonna go ahead and start calling on people. Jonathan?
Yeah, Jonathan Attic. Thank you, Theo. Thank you, Tom and Nora. I was going to ask, and before Nora said PAC meetings, I was going to ask Tom, is this something like PAC meetings? Because that's what it sounds like we used to do in person before, obviously before COVID. And I was also going to share that Southern California region through San Fernando Valley has reached out to me so that we can together do these parole meetings, because the parole department down here has been contacting Southern California region. Why, I don't know, but whatever. And you know, so we're going to participate that way. But I'm going to send a message to Steve to make sure I get a copy of this, because I want to show this to our H&I guys, because they're struggling with what to do. And I said, there's ways to do this. And every time I bring up technology, it's like I had a brick wall with some of these guys. I'm like, come on, guys, it's not that hard. So, thank you. I'm done.
Thanks, Jonathan. Art.
Hi, Art, recovering addict, Central California region, Vice Chair PR. This is assuming that this has not already been done. Have you worked with the prisons to create a uniform clean time requirement to serve, or at least push them to create a standard so that we all know across the board, no matter where we are, these are the requirements that the prisons are accepting?
So some places do this just fine, and some do not. Our state prison has not only a uniform set of requirements, they have a uniform clearance. Any prison that it clears you to go in, you're cleared in all prisons in the state. The jails, on the other hand, have all over the map, and they don't want to hear about anything in common. They run their own fiefdom, and it's quite different. Clearance runs anything from, well, are you off paper at all, to I want you 15 years from your last felony. Their house, their rules. We can ask all we want, but that's not where I want to push stuff. Personally, it would be nice if we could, but I'm not seeing that. Most of the wardens like their own little dump. Oh, and by the way, I want to give some credit here. Art and Nora also helped me with those slides, so thanks, guys.
The other Art,
the other, yes.
All right, thanks.
Okay, Jay. Jay from Texas, you had your hand up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Jay from Texas. I'm not really sure what to say that I'm going to say about the COVID thing, but recently the paper came out how it affected a lot of the jails within the El Paso community. And first of all, I want to say that there must be a lot of anxiety in those jails to begin with, including the inmates and the staff. And in one particular jail, they separated them into like healthy, positive, and sick. So I just picture that it's. I mean, you're already an inmate, and it doesn't feel good to be there, and to know that that's going on. I mean, as it's affected us outside, it must really affect them inside, and that's a big assumption. But I think the most important part is that the virtual meetings are probably even more crucial now for those facilities that have infection or positive, it just feels like it's more crucial that they get that information, that they get that support. And the other thing that Tom was saying about, I'm not sure if they would be allowing any staff to go in there any longer, because I think they want to protect the staff and they would want to protect the inmates. So it just presents an interesting situation that I think we need to think more about, but especially the virtual meetings, how crucial they must be right now. Thank you. My name's Jay. I'm an addict.
Thanks,
Jay,
Jay.
Jay, I'd like to comment on one piece of that. There will always be somebody in the room monitoring. They are not going to let inmates with an open connection to the outside, with equipment that has an open connection to the outside world. I have not seen that anywhere. The laptop, the projector, whatever it is, somebody is watching that all the time. This is part of the extra work that they're complaining about, is the equipment is always monitored.
We have time if anyone else has any questions. We have plenty of time.
Dean, you have a question?
Oh, sorry, I didn't see your hand.
I don't get one because I'm a co-host.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
just throw
I know.
something at the screen.
I put a green yes on there, but that's about as good as I get to get. Tom and Nora, thank you so much. I do have a question for you guys, because my area PR efforts, it's difficult. They're just getting to Zoom meetings for their own meeting, their monthly meeting. So they're falling a little behind, but to get to one of these authorities at the prison, do you have a pre-written guide of the discussion that you would have normally with these prison, management teams? Or
Okay, that's starting one from scratch. Is that what you're
Oh.
saying?
no, yeah, that's starting one from scratch.
Okay, that's a much longer presentation.
I'm sorry.
Since we've got some time, I'll spend a couple moments with it. Usually you want to start with a chaplain or volunteer coordinator, and start going in from there. Once COVID, one place where I started a meeting in a jail, I invited I talked to the volunteer coordinator. This was before COVID-19, and invited him to lunch. I bought him lunch. And then I had a captive audience for a while out of the office. This is a really good way to establish a rapport, make sure that, you're not somebody who's, you're the typical stereotype, of what unfortunately Narcotics Anonymous occasionally has an image of. And you kind of make a presentation, buy them lunch, and then you get an advocate, and then you let them, and patience. There may be something in this universe that moves slower than the Department of Justice, but I started working on this online meeting last year in a lot of places, because I wanted the whole idea of reaching remote areas. And then it all got a kick in the butt from the COVID-19, and I am capitalizing on it wherever I can. And it's still moving slow with all this. But see me after the meeting, and we can go over it. This is a it's a lengthy and non-trivial thing. I can't give you the 5-minute version. There isn't one.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go off topic.
That's okay.
Thank you.
There's no bad questions, and you'll be seen after class, Dean, so no worries. We're gonna move on to Jeff from El Paso.
Thank you. Thank you, Nora, Tom. We're so lucky and fortunate to have you in our region. I wanted to ask, and it's probably self-explanatory with what it's called, but since we've had so much resistance in the Texas system with internet and getting into like virtually into facilities with H&I wanted to know about the phone-only meeting. Well, can you describe how that's set up or what that involves?
Absolutely. You can set up a phone-only meeting, and they already have the technology. You just say, look, get a few people in the same room because they already allow them to talk to lawyers over the phone. And yeah, video is scary to some folks. Okay, and technologically difficult for others. So go to phone only. That's how Australia started. Was just with phones, and they now have a lot of prisons on it. But be okay with starting small. Find out, if you hit resistance, go smaller until you can find something. I mean, some places will only take NA literature. Okay, that's the best we can do, and that's the best we can do. Some places will do panels, phone only. Okay. Donate CDs, speaker CDs. And the other thing is, don't forget about the institutional group guides. A number of jails and prisons, at least the longer term ones, are perfectly fine to run their own meetings. There's people who are NA members in there and know how to run a meeting. And NA has literature specifically for institutional groups. Your H&I panel goes and buys one, finds a connection, and the steps behind the walls is another one. People are going to talk about that a little later. But this is only one way. We're addicts, we're creative. Find a way to get in. Have I answered your question? You're muted. Okay.
I'm sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks for the question, Jeff. All right. Next we have Jamie.
Hi, my name is Jaime, and I'm an addict. El Paso Area Narcotics Anonymous. I am the H&I chair here. I just want to make a comment that, sometimes you realize or you just discover that a facility isn't run by their state. And I came across one that was here close to us, even though it's not in the state of Texas. We're on the El Paso, Texas is uniquely positioned, by the southern New Mexico border. And after talking to the chaplain of a county that's, maybe a 20-30 minute drive, and she was telling me that, well, we're part of the New Mexico state prison system, but we're not run by them. We're privately owned. And I was like, oh, wow, really? So, to do a Zoom virtual meeting there, they're like, we don't have the capabilities like the state-run facilities do. And I was like, oh, okay. So it was a great learning experience for me. So, yeah, in the meantime, I just offered to drop off some literature, and she said, oh, just mail it. It'll be easier. So I mailed her a decent amount for that. It's a smaller facility. So, just throwing that out there for those PR and H&I folks that are of service. And, if it's a privately owned one, you might run across, different problems, But yeah, but I love that phone idea. Thank you. That's all I got.
Thanks, Jaime. And yes, the privately owned facilities are a pain in the butt. They are, because they don't want to do anything. Nonetheless, the reentry program is a good spot to try to get into. But we do what we can. Thanks.
Sorry, my internet's not very stable, so I hope you can hear me now.
I can hear you.
We can hear
Okay,
you.
thank you. Thank you. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. I feel everyone mispronounces my name, so I apologize. It happens every day of my life. Jay, in Texas.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This thought just occurred to me. It's really about history in New Mexico and HNI, and alluding to Tom, that you need to make relationships with these institutions, that you need to understand their systems, and you just kind of got to work it till it's a mutual thing and it's a good thing. But one of the biggest things that I ever saw in my NA life and convention was when a bunch of penitentiary inmates showed up to the convention, and one of them was a speaker. Now let me go back a little bit. The guy that helped with that was, some of you may know him, is Jimmy Harper, and he was kind of like well known for working the HNI in the prison system in New Mexico. I'm not sure which part of New Mexico, like around Albuquerque maybe. And anyway, these inmates were taken to the convention. Now, if you think about it, we can't get into the prison, okay, without a lot of jumping hoops, And so here was this group of inmates that were at the convention. There was one guy that we knew, and he just was jumping for joy to see us, and he remembered some of our names. And it was just a beautiful thing to see that it's like, that took a lot of years and a lot of work to get those inmates there, but it was a beautiful result, And so I'm just saying that's kind of like, that could be like a shining example of HNI in the prisons. Thank you. My name's Jay, and I'm an addict.
Thanks, Jay. I agree that's one of it was a wonderful spot in the convention. And Colorado's starting to do it now as well.
Thanks, Jay. I cannot hear Teo right now, so let's just give him a minute. It doesn't look like anybody else has their hands up. Oh, hold on. Gilbert, would you like to speak? Did you have a question?
I do. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, my question was for Tom. I'll be brief. I go into southern New Mexico. Well, I did before Corona. I just learned from our southern from Maria. I don't know if you know her, about they're going to the online. Are they online now at the? Because I mean, even in Santa Fe, if you go to Santa Fe, like you said, it's the same prisons. Like I have badges to get into any prison. But my question is, are they having meetings online now? Are they set up?
Not totally, no. But you and Bob are on the list, and a couple of other folks. Fermin to organize that. No, yeah. We were almost there yesterday, and then until we have a solid technical issue. The problem is they have suppression of much of the internet, So finding ways to get around it's tricky.
So at the same time, what I was doing there, so we're gonna have to start from scratch. I understand that. Well, whatever they come up with at Santa Fe. At any rate, I was working with step down guys from Max to anyway, I'll bypass all that. How are they getting online in the pods? Are they going to the chapel? How are they all communicating online?
They're taking them to a room where they have access, but finding that room where they have access has become a problem. If we may have to go to phone only if they don't get some things going there now. Part of the problem is once we got things going, now there's a limited amount of equipment, and so there's a fight for space, time slots. And we, like all political fights, it's bounced upstairs.
So my final question, Tom, is when they do get this together, are we going to be able to ever communicate with these guys in the walls? I mean, without Zoom, are they headed in that direction?
That's a completely different question. So that's like a steps behind the walls thing. Is that what you mean?
I mean, are we ever going to get back to having in-house meetings?
In-house meetings. No one knows yet. Eventually, I think yes. In some places, but not necessarily. Some places may, it's going to depend on how this thing all plays out. You ask a good question, so it's on several people's mind. I don't think we have a definitive answer yet. Some places may actually stay sealed. I know one recovery house that never plans to open up to in-person meetings. Don't know.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Don't know. But anyways, one final thing I'll say to the group is that I heard Tom talk about miraculous ways to get in there, or you got to do some things. You never know how it's going to come. In my case, I've been in Santa Fe. I've been in all these prisons. And I really believed I would never get in there. And I started getting an education late in life here at MSU, and I met an instructor there that was a warden, an assistant warden. That's how I got in. I mean, I didn't go through the paperwork. She told me, you're coming in. That's all. It's not what you know, it's who you know, kind of deal. And I've been there ever since. It's been years. So anyways, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Gilbert.
We're glad you're there too.
Yeah, great questions, great feedback. Are there any other questions for Tom or Nora? Dennis, you raising your hand? Oh, I'll unmute you. Yeah.
Okay, my name's Dennis Minetti. Hey, I just had a question for Nora. Could you repeat what the name of that parole program was that you said? Or Tom, whoever knows it.
Nora, that's yours.
Yes, I was muted. I couldn't talk. Oh dear, my video's gone away. There we go. It is called PACT. P-A-C-T. And that's an acronym which stands for Parole and Community Teams.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's definitely California, and I believe they have similar groups, maybe with the same acronym, maybe something different in other states.